This is a vital update about coronavirus. To help save lives, stay at home. Anyone can spread coronavirus.
Catherine Calderwood's lockdown breach back in April 2020 was a shocking story, exposing the utter hypocrisy of a key figure in a position of great power. She was a chief medical officer, of course, who appeared in TV and radio ads and told people to stay at home and save lives.
Stay home, protect Scotland's NHS, and save lives.
The Scottish Sun on Sunday's story about her being at her holiday residence, about an hour and a half's drive from her home in Edinburgh, was overwhelmingly in the public interest. The emergency law at the time, the law the Scottish government passed, was absolutely clear. You could not leave your home without a reasonable excuse. People will be able to remember what it was like. It felt oppressive, but we were told we all had to do it for the greater good. It was clear from the moment we broke the story that Dr Calderwood could not stay in post. How could you have a chief medical officer telling people to follow this extremely serious law when she'd broken it herself? But in spite of this, the Scottish Government dug in. Their initial response on the Saturday night when we went to them with the story was to say Catherine Calderwood had been working hard and took the opportunity to check on a family home in Fife, as she knows she will not be back again until the crisis is over. Then, on the Sunday, Nicola Sturgeon rallied behind her.
Finally, I want to address an issue that the Chief Medical Officer will speak to herself shortly. The Chief Medical Officer made a mistake in travelling away from her home. Whatever her reasons for doing so, she was wrong and she knows that. It was not in line with the advice we are asking everyone to follow. She has apologised unreservedly to me and to the public, and she is right to have done so. As I said, she will address the matter herself in a moment, but I would like to say this. I've said this from this podium before, that all of us, including me, will make mistakes in these unprecedented times we're living in. When we do, we must be candid about it and learn from it. That is what I know the Chief Medical Officer is doing. In making abundantly clear that she was wrong, we will underline the reasons why we are asking everyone to comply with this advice. But what I also know is that over these past few weeks, as we have been dealing with this crisis, her advice and expertise has been invaluable to me, and it continues to be so. If I am to do what I need to do to steer the country through this crisis to the very best of my ability, I need her to be able to focus on the job that she is doing. A job that, notwithstanding her mistake on this, she is doing extremely well. So I'm not expecting you not to be angry about this mistake, and nor is she. But I am asking you to consider the wider importance to the government and by extension the country of being able to count on the continued expertise of the Chief Medical Officer at this critical time as we fight this virus. And of course it remains the case that for all of us, the best way of showing solidarity and...
Thank you, First Minister. I've already issued a statement this morning apologising unreservedly for travelling away from my home while restrictions were in place. As well as this weekend, it's important to be clear that I also was there last weekend with my husband. I did not follow the advice I'm giving to others. I'm truly sorry for that. I've seen a lot of the comments from members of the public on Twitter today, people calling me a hypocrite, people telling me about the hardships they've endured while following my guidance. My office has also received emails from members of the public who are making clear to me their disappointment and unhappiness at what I've done. People have told me that I'm irresponsible, that I've behaved as if my advice does not apply to me. I want people to know that I have seen all of that, and I've heard the comments. What I did was wrong. I'm very sorry. It will not happen again. I know how important the advice is that I've issued. I do not want my mistake to distract from that. I don't want to make the jobs of the police or my NHS colleagues any harder, and I apologise to them as well. I have a job to do as Chief Medical Officer to provide advice to ministers on the path of this virus and to support the medical profession as they work night and day to save lives. This was a mistake, human error, and there's no excuses. I should not have done what I did. I'm very sorry about that. I've spoken to the police this morning about this, and I'm sorry for taking up their time on this when it could have been avoided. Having spoken with the First Minister this morning, My intention is to continue to focus on my job.
As these new WhatsApps show, Dr Calderwood wanted to ride it out. And apparently, fellow chief medical officers, the likes of Chris Whitty, these household names, thought Dr Calderwood was the one who had actually been wronged, which I think many people will find extraordinary. There was that painful TV press conference on the Sunday afternoon where the First Minister tried to back questions away time and again.
Questions. I'll take Peter Smith from ITV News.
First question, First Minister. You must know how angry people are in this country today in hearing that the Chief Medical Officer has flouted the rules, not once but twice now, that people in this country are making great personal sacrifices. We're speaking to people who have had to separate their families, people who are losing their businesses over this, people who can't attend funerals because they are putting faith in the message that you and your government is putting out. What we've seen from the Chief Medical Officer is flouting these rules, and then the message that we're getting from that is that, is this a matter of life and death, or is it not? If she believes it really is a matter of life and death, why did she make the decision to break these rules not once but twice? Compounding this, we've had your National Clinical Director, Jason Leach, today defending her, saying that when she went to her holiday home, it was actually safe to do so. Her family was safe, and the people that she was around were safe because she observed social distancing. The message that the public are getting from that is that it's okay for us all to go to the beach, to our holiday homes, to our caravans, as long as we observe social distancing. That's clearly not the message your government's been putting out. Your message has been undermined. So the mixed messaging is now frankly dangerous. So my question to you, First Minister, is how can you in good faith allow the Chief Medical Officer to continue addressing the public? We have no faith in her anymore. The question to you, Chief Medical Officer, is that if you have heard how the public is sacrificing the great personal cost to many people, and you know this, you may have the confidence of the First Minister, but I would put it to you that the majority of this country has lost confidence in you over this issue, and that we need a leader, an expert that we can have confidence in. So why on earth do you believe that you can really be the public face of a message to stay home and protect the NHS and save lives?
Well, let me address that directly. Firstly, the Chief Medical Officer has said that she complied with social distancing while where she was, but that does not change the fact that she should not have been there. And I know that, she knows that, it was wrong, and there is no attempt to justify or explain that, and I want to be categorically clear about that. We are asking people, I am asking people to make very difficult sacrifices right now, and it is important that they understand the seriousness of that. So I do understand that people are angry. The Chief Medical Officer understands that as well. I have made clear to her, and she is making clear to the public, that there is no justification for this. People make mistakes. We all wish that wasn't the case. I wish that wasn't the case. I have made mistakes of my own. What I am saying is that having apologised and all of us taking the opportunity to use this to absolutely underline again the importance and the reasons for these measures, the Chief Medical Officer has a job to do. And I can only say to the public as First Minister that I know how vital the advice and the expertise she gives to me is in the judgments I have to make about how we steer the country through. At this juncture, it is important to me that I can continue to rely on that the government can continue to rely on that, and the public can continue to rely on that. And that's why I am saying that I don't justify or condone or ask people not to be angry, but I do ask people to understand the wider importance of that as we tackle this virus. Chief Medical Officer.
Thank you, First Minister. I do not offer any justification for what I did. It was wrong. I have seen the anger that people have put quite rightly on Twitter. I have heard from some of my own NHS colleagues, and I have let not only them in the NHS down, but also the general public down. I did make a mistake. It's a fundamental mistake. I didn't follow the advice that I'm giving to others. I cannot justify it. I can only apologise, and I apologise again unreservedly.